So I have a factoring problem on the board here from my quiz on the left, factoring with two variables. And what I'm going to do is we'll factor this using two different methods. So I'll start with the first method, which is going to be turning this into a quadratic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the y variables and just change them into x's. And so we'll rewrite this expression as 8x squared plus 10x minus 24x minus 30. And then as you can see, we can just combine these terms because we got a common variable. So we'll write this as 8x squared minus 14x minus 30. Okay, so now we have our quadratic. Then all I want to do is just factor this quadratic. We'll take a 2 out, and we have, oh my goodness, what is that? So next we'll factor out a 2. And we have 4x squared minus 7x minus 15. Then to factor this, I'm going to just do it kind of by guessing what it might look like without being too formal. So I'm going to say maybe it's going to factor like this. And then kind of just looking, we could have a 5 here and a 3 here. I'm going to look at the sign. Sorry, it's not very technical. I'm just kind of guessing and checking. If I do 3 times 4, we're going to have a negative 12. And if I put a plus here, yes, that's going to work. So that will multiply out if you just FOIL it, 4x squared minus 7x minus 15. Okay, so then we factored this, but we factored it as a quadratic in one variable, and we want it to be in two variables. So we need a y. And so what we're going to find is one of these is going to be a y. We're going to either have, show either here or here, we're going to have a y. And what I can look at is, like, let's look at this term. You can just kind of focus on one term. To get a 10x, if I multiplied, so if we multiply here, we're going to have 5x and a 2. So this variable is going to be an x. So I'm going to say this variable is going to be a y. So again, not very scientific. I'm kind of like eyeballing it and finding something that works. So this is why I'm doing two methods. You might like maybe the second method's a little more satisfying. So let's rewrite this as 2 times 4y plus 5 times x minus 3. And let's just multiply it out to see that we get the right answer. So we're going to have 4xy plus 5x minus 12y minus 15. If we just multiply that by the 2, we're going to have 8xy plus 10x minus 24y minus 30. And you'll notice that's going to be the same as our original problem. So that's correct. That's our first method. Oh, you notice none of those answers look quite right because what's happened is that the 2, if you distribute the 2, you have 8y plus 10 times y minus 3. So it's that solution. So same thing, just they've taken this coefficient and distributed it to the inside. Okay. So next I'm going to clean up the board and we'll work on the second method. Okay, so now for method number 2, what I want to do is I want to be able to divide through by 8 in order to remove the 8 on the lead term. So if I do that, we'll factor out an 8. We're going to have xy plus 10 over 8 plus 10 over 8, which is going to be 5 over 4. And then minus 24 over 8, which is minus 3. And then the last term is going to be 30 over 8, which is 15 over 4. And then what we can do is we're just grouping. We can group here will be like our x term and here the y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor an x out of this first part. So we'll have x times y plus, we'll reduce 10/8 to 5/4. And then in our second part, what I'm going to do is factor out this lead coefficient. We'll factor out a minus 3, and we'll get y plus 5/4. And then what you'll notice now is that we have a common term here, y plus 5/4. So we can factor again, and we can rewrite this as 8 times x minus 3 times y plus 5/4. And and we're quickly getting to the answer. So this is factored, this is correct. But what we can do, I can distribute the 8, or I could distribute, yeah, let's just distribute the 8 all the way. So if we distribute the 8 into here, what we can do next is distribute the 8 into here. And we're going to have x minus 3 times 8y plus 10. And you'll notice that's the same thing as the answer over here. Looked a little different than what we did originally. If we distributed a 4 here, what we'd have instead is we could also look at this as 2 times x minus 3, 4, 4y plus 5, right? Yeah, so either of these are okay. It's just a matter of taste if you want to distribute the 2 or leave the factor out the 2. But we get the same answer. So I thought this was an interesting problem. I like doing this quiz just because we're so used to factoring a quadratic in one variable that it's interesting to see something a little different with two variables. So I thought this was a good example. You can check out this quiz. I'll provide a link in the description. I given the help the second method for how I solve this. So you can follow that. And there's also down here, there's a similar quiz. I have complete the product, which is really similar using two variables, but it's instead of factoring, it's finding the root. So just a slight variation. So I'll stop it there and thank you. Have a good day.